Okay, so hello everyone, welcome back to another video. A lot of you have been asking for any information on Metal Wolf Chaos XD, primarily because I've covered it in other videos, because I've talked about it in great lengths in different streams about how much I love the original. Everybody knows it as the meme game, so we're going to be going over it a little bit more comprehensively, what's been updated recently, and potential release dates. First off, if you played this game on the original Xbox, it is fantastic. It's got some really good gameplay, it's over the top, it's not taking anything seriously, and it's just about style and lots of explosions. A bit like playing a Michael Bay film, but we'll go more into that later. Devolver Digital took on the job of trying to remaster this because it's been heavily covered in different media on YouTube and other websites, and it's been memed to hell and back. So Devolver took on the task of porting the original Xbox copy with its original files onto newer systems. And what we originally saw from that was a E3 release trailer or launch trailer that they were covering, where they showed off a little bit of gameplay, or at least the introduction sequence where the President of the United States bursts out of the Oval Office and then finds the Vice President in his own mech suit and then flies off to evade him in Air Force One. And what we saw from that was a load of cartoony shaders. As you can see here, this is a shot of the President in his crisis suit. It's an exoskeleton that he wears, kind of like the Iron Man suit, but a lot more bulky. And this is him on Air Force One as the cutscene finishes from the first level. And everybody on Steam and in the comments sections on YouTube was saying, why is the shaders looking really cartoony? There's practically nothing there. There's no wear and tear on the mech like in the original Xbox version or in the promotional material. It looks really weird. What's going on? And I summarized that this was a development build, it was really early in dev, and that they were going through the process of updating things as they go on, and I was actually crossing my fingers that I was right about that. And it looks like this has been confirmed by the devs themselves on Steam. Termit here has turned around and said, look, hello everyone, thanks for your feedback. A few things I'd like to mention. The screenshots that you saw ages ago were from an old work-in-progress build. Right now, the mech has a different skin and shader. We had to completely rewrite the rendering engine, so a one-to-one look is impossible. But it's not only about the engine. Even when you play the original game with 320p versus 480p, or composite versus components, the output of the game has a different look. Significantly higher resolution, added shaders, textures, skyboxes, SSAO, and other things play a big role in perception of the game, but we'll try our best to get the original feel and look. The video from E3 is not captured from the most recent version. Regarding the lighting, I passed some info on to our engineers and they'll look into this. If you've got any questions, hit us up on Twitter or on our Discord. That's fair enough. So basically, I was proven right. It was a really early build. They've been showing off early builds constantly to try and remind people that, you know, we're still working on this, it's coming out. Here's what we kind of had to go through, because for anyone who doesn't know or doesn't remember, they took the original Xbox port and the original files from Software, had to figure out how they worked, and then in turn update all the assets, had to redo the engine completely. And like they've said here, they've had to completely rewrite the rendering engine so that they can get stuff to look a little bit better, so they can add all the shiny metal effects and other things. So it's taken them a long time. They've obviously had to learn this stuff because it's not the software to begin with, it's not their assets, so it's a lot of learning and then building on top of that. So there's a lot of effort gone into it. But then recently, when everybody was criticizing, saying, oh, it's cartoony shaders, I'm not going to buy it, you know, the Steam comments and the YouTube comments were full up with stuff like this, where it's like, I'm hoping it comes out, it looks like a really fun game, but it's a bit too cartoony, I might not get that if it stays like that. They've recently updated stuff, like with this, and at the Twitter, they've turned around and said, look, put it on your wish list on Steam, because release date news is coming up, and this was only like 18 hours ago, I think? I could be wrong, but then, of course, everybody else starts catching on to this, different news websites, so you have search hits on Google saying from like VG247, is it coming out on the 4th of July? And it kind of makes sense if you go off the whole joke that they're going with. Originally, they made the joke about Mech America Great Again because of the mech suit. And they thought it would be really fun. They put that out as a hashtag. Honestly, if it's this close to launching, that's going to be amazing. I wouldn't be surprised if they're still doing the visuals, if it's delayed a little bit, but I imagine they're trying to work overtime to hit this launch as close to the 4th of July as possible, especially to keep it in context with that joke to try and pull it off. But let me remind you that they are porting a game that was made from the original people that made games such as Armored Core and Dark Souls, in which you play as the President of the United States in his own Iron Man-esque mech suit that fights against his Vice President in his own personalized mech suit, as the Vice President has to launch a coup d'etat across America to try and take control from the President, whose name is Michael Wilson. He's been referenced in other From Software video games, and he makes an appearance in at least a couple of them. The one that I can note is Enchanted Arms, which is like a Final Fantasy-esque game where you can actually get him as a playable unit, and one of his special moves is he just unloads a massive amount of weapons on the field and does tons of damage. The way that this game plays is a third-person action shooter in which you do as much damage as possible and you wreak as much chaos as imaginable. So it's basically like playing a Michael Bay film, but if Michael Bay made Iron Man. It's absolute insanity, and it's only made more amusing by the very memeable voice lines that they have in it. But compared to the original cartoony shaders that we have, the update is amazing because it looks a hell of a lot better. What we get to see are the President bursting out of the Oval Office there. Then we get to see downtown Chinatown, if I remember rightly, where the M1 Abrams tank is first introduced to the player. This is a very, very fun section to play because you can blow everything up. Then we get a screenshot of the President versus one of the bosses, which is a giant helicopter that drops off other units. We also see different shots of the President wreaking havoc on some ground troops in a Wild West style level, which was a boss fight where you fight two other mechs. Then we get the President falling down from the roof or seemingly stamping on people inside the hangar in the first level for Air Force One. Then on, I think it's the 4th or 5th level, where you're fighting on the Grand Canyon's cliffside, shooting at helicopters with a missile pod, and then evading one of the boss characters. I think it's the tank called the I think it's the Agatha or something. It's a giant tank that shoots a very large beam style weapon in Chinatown, and then we also get to see shots of the flamethrower at the end. And I love these upgraded visuals because they're absolutely amazing. They're a lot better, obviously, than earlier builds, and I can't wait to see if they put the metal shaders on stuff, because it'll make things a lot better. Obviously, we've still got that kind of cartoony look, but at least everything looks a little bit more grubby and metallic and worn, used. You know, you expect that from this compared to the promotional material, compared to the earlier builds. So, honestly, I can't wait for this. This is a day one purchase for me. If it comes out on the 4th of July, either way, it's a day one purchase for me. I will be streaming it. It is a really fun game. It is really absurd. You get weapons from other games that they've done. For instance, the Moonlight has been in most From Software games. You get a gun that fires the Moonlight as a weapon in here, which is ridiculously powerful. And when you fire it, lightning just comes out of the back of the sword and just goes in a straight line and does loads of damage. It's amazing. You get the ability to dual wield things like M4s and giant revolvers. You get a weapon that shoots sharks that creates, I think, ice damage, if I remember rightly. You get an American football gun which bounces all over the place and then causes residual explosions. You get to paint your mech suit in the American flag. You get a shotgun that fires money and also cheers every time you shoot it and fires confetti. There's a lot of really weird and unique and cool stuff in this. Like I said, it's mainly a joke title. It's not about taking things seriously. It's just all about style and lots of explosions. So it is fun, and I'm glad that it's finally coming out. Like I said, I hope that release date is 4th of July. I will be keeping an eye on it, and the moment it hits, I'm going to be doing another video just updating everybody. This is a game that you should have in your Steam wishlist, because guaranteed it is really fun to play. I'm hyped like crazy for it. If you can't tell already, it's going to be fun to see everybody else's reactions and streams. Anyway, what do you guys think? I'll see you in the next video. Bye!